this is a proposal for the full capitulation of the Palestinian people. And these countries that signed on to it, what they did was unacceptable and shameful. And even this horrible plan, this plan to destroy Gaza and the resistance and the honor and dignity of the Palestinian people, even this plan is unacceptable for Netanyahu, as you rightly pointed out, did an interview in Hebrew saying, don't worry, this is nothing is going to happen. As he's not even strong enough. He's not even, and this I think shows his weakness, and that's why I think that he may lash out at Iran soon. He's not even strong enough to be able to say this in English, or not to say it at all, because the plan is a win for him and his fanatical allies, but they are so extremist that they won't even accept this. So he has to go in Hebrew and say, no, don't worry, we're staying in Gaza. We're not moving out. The plan is basically to buy time for Netanyahu, and because popular support in the United States for the Israeli regime has collapsed.
Yeah, it's cratering.
Yes, it's going down like a rock. So they have to, I think, try to create this image of Netanyahu seeking to bring about peace, but Hamas taking a hardline stance, and again try to create an environment where Netanyahu gets some better publicity. But I don't think it's going to work. We've moved way beyond that. They can take over TikTok and post pictures of Netanyahu day and night, and they can buy CBS and ABC and NBC and CNN. I mean, they're already propaganda outlets for Israel, more or less. But it's not going to change anything, because people are sick and tired of all these dead babies, seeing all these dead babies day and night, and all these women with their limbs torn off, and these mothers grieving over all their children dying in front of them as the Israelis bomb their tents. People are just. This cannot be explained away anymore after 2 years.
Well, do you follow Candace Owens at all?
I was actually last night. I listened to her latest piece, like the first 20 minutes of it. And, but yes, I do. I don't watch all of her material, but I am more or less following what she says. And she's now, when she speaks, she gets more viewers than anyone else.
Yeah, so when she was at the Daily Wire, the Daily Wire may have had like 2 million subscribers to the YouTube channel. She's got 5 million, by herself. But I raised her, Tucker Carlson, and Megyn Kelly, which are all being accused now of being anti-Semites. In fact, Megyn just did a piece that was highlighted by the Young Turks, where she was getting pressured to cut off all contact with those vile anti-Semites, Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. And all that's doing is it's like, might as well pour more gasoline on a fire. It's going to burn hotter. It's going to spread. And the Israeli bullying that they've gotten away with in the past, it's really coming back to bite them in the ass on this one.
Yes, I think, I don't know if you saw that propaganda piece of that young African American and that woman.
Yeah, oh yes. The guy with the white hair and I thought when I first saw the first 20, 30 seconds of it, I thought they were ridiculing Israel. Yeah.
I thought they were, and then as it continued, I didn't know who they were. Then I found that they were influencers. These people have just, they've always been so famous for their propaganda, the Zionists and the Israeli regime. and how they're able to manipulate. And it's like they're just doing the opposite now. It's like whoever's in charge now is intentionally trying to destroy the Israeli regime. And the way they conduct themselves on the battlefield, well, it's not a battlefield, it's a slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
The way they conduct themselves in the Gaza slaughterhouse is not very different from the way they are now conducting themselves online.
Well, in fact, what they've got now is they've packaged up cow manure and trying to sell it as chocolate mousse. Okay, and people go, doesn't smell like chocolate mousse, doesn't taste like. We hate your product, and yet
exactly.
They persist. Well, let me close out with this. It appears now that as a consequence of the attacks, that 12-day war, that Iran's relationship with both Russia and China, particularly at working levels across the government, have become much deeper and more firm than was the case prior to June 13th. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
Yes, I think that's definitely the case. I think Iran's relations with Russia and China were always good. And there's always the liberal class in Iran, the sort of West-leaning liberal class. They've always been very hostile towards Russian and Iran-Chinese relations. But the interesting thing is that, Larry, after the 12-day war, many of these people have shifted their position. Actually, many young people who I know personally, students at my university, some of my former students, they've come to me. Students at my faculty who I don't know, they just come up to me and thank me sort of and say, I was wrong. A person I've never met before. Mm-hmm. Or some of my former students, they come and contact me, or they even come to campus just to see me, or they may be passing by and they just say hello, and they come and say, you back then we thought you were talking nonsense or you were exaggerating, but now we see, you were right. The mood in Tehran has shifted dramatically among a certain class of people. It was more than 3 years ago when we had that the Mahsa Amini demise, and then the riots and the protests, and it was clear to those who were really seriously and being honest intellectually, that there was no evidence that she was ever beaten or that she had any she was physically harassed. The footage doesn't show that. Didn't show that. The autopsy didn't show that. Now, whether they did the right thing or in dealing with her, that's another issue altogether. Right. They could have just left her alone, but they didn't do anything to her, and she died of a condition that she had beforehand. She had an operation as a child. But the real issue among the rioters and the protesters was not her. It was about many of these young people, including some of students in my own faculty. It was about Iran in their eyes is not letting people live their lives, and that Iran is obsessed with an animosity towards the United States. They just want to always fight wars with the Americans, and they don't want us to have the sanctions to go away and to compromise and let us live our lives. And the worldview of these people was shattered during the 12-day war, because they saw that Ayatollah Khamenei was absolutely correct. And he also was very smart, because he agreed to indirect negotiations with the Americans, even though he knew they were going to bomb Iran. And also, more recently, Iran did a deal with the International Atomic Energy Agency in Cairo, knowing that the EU was lying, that the E3 was lying, and that they were going to use a snapback mechanism anyway. And they said, we want you to negotiate with Americans. And Iran said, fine. The Americans can go and join the P5+1. And still and they said, sign a deal with the IAEA. And they said, okay, we'll sign a deal. The Iranians knew that they were not going to do it. But what it did was that for this younger generation who did not see the war, the revolution, or they just thought that we were the ones who were obsessed and that we wanted confrontation. They saw no. So they saw it was the other way around. So the mood has changed dramatically among people. Doesn't mean that people are not dissatisfied. If you ask people, how's the economy doing? It's terrible. In general, Iranians criticize